Hi, my name is Ben Runyon of City Rain, and I am reporting live for recordingexcellence.com. And today's video, I want to go over Ableton Live and its benefits, its similarities, and its differences as a digital audio workstation, and the major advantage and unique nature it has over all of the rest of them. I've been using Ableton Live for about 10 years now. I originally studied at Temple University. I've been teaching for the last 3 years at various different places like Dubspot, the Foxgrove in New York City, and sometimes in an official capacity for Ableton. I've been playing live and touring with a band for the last 6 years, and I've been composing and producing for the last 10 years. Ableton Live is my go-to digital audio workstation, and while I love all the others for various different reasons, Ableton has a unique feature that sets it above the rest. Let me explain. Every digital audio workstation has a timeline view where you can start from 0 seconds, go to 3 minutes and 30 seconds, 5 minutes, so on and so forth, having the ability to construct over various different tracks of audio and MIDI songs or compositions. Obviously, we need this timeline to be able to create something from start to finish. But where Ableton truly succeeds is its other mode, other than arrangement mode, which is the one we're looking at now. And that mode is called Session View. Session View is a great view when you're looking to jam, you're looking to sit down and start a project by yourself or with others, but you don't necessarily have the idea completely thought out in a linear fashion. This is where Ableton Live truly succeeds. Every project opens with 2 MIDI tracks, 1 and 2, and 2 audio tracks, and a send for reverb delay, a master track. Over here at the top left, you have some master controls, tapping out the tempo, the beats per minute, nudging the tempo very slightly, very small minutia between 1 and 2 beats per minute, the time signature, metronome, and the global quantization of how tracks are synced together. This is obviously the master transport, play, stop, record. And these are different punch-in features and different MIDI and key mapping features that Ableton Live gives you, which is really where the real fun comes in. The particular mode that we're looking at right now is called Session View. I prepared a few clips so I can demonstrate why Session View is so important and why Ableton Live is something you might want to use over something like Logic, Cubase, Fruity Loops, GarageBand, you name it. I'm going to drag an audio loop into an audio track. I'm going to drag another audio loop into a different audio track and a MIDI bass track that I've already prepared into this particular MIDI track right now. Every clip that I've dragged in, if I double click on the clip, it opens what's called Clip View. Clip View shows the audio waveform down at the bottom and also gives you additional features to edit, manipulate, and to form a different type of idea for that particular audio waveform. So if I double click on this one over here, the drum loop, it's showing me the drum loop. If I double click on this jazz guitar, it's showing me the jazz guitar. If I double click on the MIDI clip over here, it's showing me the MIDI clip. If I double click on the banner of the track where it shows the name of it, this is called Device View. On these audio tracks, currently I don't have any devices. If I did, I'd see them at the bottom here, where you notice it says Drop Audio Effects here. If I double click at the top of this analog MIDI track, I've put in a device called Analog. It's basically a synthesizer. So when you double click on a clip, Clip View. When you double click on a banner, Device View. Very important basic concepts to understand. Obviously, we have the volume attenuation, we have the panning, we have the deactivate track, activate track, solo, record arm, sends to send to the reverb, or send B to send to the delay that's in here, and different routing features, which I'll get into in further videos. If I click play on a track, or on a clip to be more specific, it's going to play the clip, and it's going to play it endlessly until I stop it. Any empty square here, or the square for the particular track, and that square universally represents stop, will stop it in time. And when I say in time, I mean it's respecting the global quantization. So anytime I hit that stop button, it's stopping at 1 bar. So let me turn on the metronome and explain further what I mean. So that's playing in time with the global tempo that I have set up here at 104. I can click and drag that up, or click and drag that down, and you're hearing it getting slower, it's getting faster. In a column or a track, I can only play one clip at a time. So even if I were to drag this in here and activate this clip, it's going to alternate. I can play one clip in a track or column at any given time. Now, if I drag that audio clip into a different audio track, I can play them both together. Now, all of the clips are respecting the master tempo. So I can slow it down or speed it up. If I had a musician next to me, someone playing a live instrument, guitar, bass, something like that, they'd be able to start jamming with me. Another really great feature is up here on the top left-hand side where it says tap, I can click and tap out the tempo. So I want to go up, 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 up. So here I'm going to do it with my trackpad. After 4 clicks, it sets the tempo, and it goes with it. So if I was jamming with a live musician, and they had set a reasonably consistent tempo, I could start jamming with them. Now, the next concept I want to explain, which is a very important concept, it's called scenes. So let's say I've stopped everything, and to stop everything, this little square right here is the master stop button for everything. And when I say stop, I mean it clears out the tracks. If I press the space bar, the metronome's playing, so nothing is playing in the background. It's still keeping the tempo behind me. So if I were to play this clip and stop all the clips, it stopped all the clips, but it's still playing in the background. So if I were playing with live musicians, I could enter and drop out things at will. Effective for leaving a gap between something. Maybe in absence of a drum fill, you have silence, and then drop at a beat. So if I have this drum loop up here, and I'm going to slow the tempo down. That was obviously a little bit too fast. If I have that drum loop playing on the top, and I have this jazz guitar, I like those two. I like them together. And the third part is I have this MIDI clip, basically a bass line. This is where scenes come in, and this is where the jamming and the session view really become unique and amazing. So let's say that first time around, and I'm copying and pasting these down to the next column, and I'll explain, or row rather, and I'll explain why in a second. First time around, I just want the drum loop and the jazz guitar to be playing. All the way over here on the right, where it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and there's a little play button here. These are called scenes. A scene plays every clip in the row. So if I'm playing row number 1, there are 2 clips in row number 1. Let's slow down a little bit further. But in row number 2, I have the drum loop, the jazz guitar, and the MIDI bass. So when I activate row number 2, it's going to play that additional element in time. 1, 2, click, and 4. And I can go back and forth at any given time. So if I were to add in, let's say, a different drum loop in here, let's just find anything kind of drum loop. Let's try this here. Let's say the third time around, I want the clip, the jazz guitar to be playing, but with this new drum loop that I haven't listened to. 1, 2, 3, 4. And here we go. And I could go right back. While all this is happening, I can manipulate the sounds on each channel. So maybe with this jazz guitar, I can feed some delay into it. And that B is setting to set B, so that's what this signal is right here. Then I'm going to drop to the next track. And then I'm going to stop everything. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's a quick glance at Ableton's session view. Now, session view, what do you do with it? After you have your ideas together, you can record them into arrangement view. So why don't I do that? At the top here, on the master transport, I'm going to hit record. But before I do that, I'm going to hit stop 2 times. Right now, I have the arrangement position set at bar 21, beat 3, section 1. So bar 21, beat 3, and 16ths 1. If I hit stop twice, it's going to go back to 1, 1, 1. If I hit tab on my keyboard, I'll see that 1, 1, 1 represents the beginning of the timeline or arrangement view. So I'm going to hit record. I'm going to start my clips. And I'm going to jam with it for a second. And here we go. I can still see that it's recording up here because it's red. Alright, so I like this idea. I'm comfortable with it. I'm going to stop the clip here, and I'm going to stop the recording up here. Now, when I go back down, or back over rather, to arrangement view by either hitting tab, or if I look up here at the top right, I have the arrangement view selector and the session view selector, session view, arrangement view. I can see that here is this performance that I've done, or jamming, performance, whatever you want to call it. And you notice the first thing is that it's ghosted out. This is where a lot of people get confused with Ableton Live. Ableton is either listening to arrangement view, it's listening to session view, or it's listening to a combination of both. This funky little orange button right here says back to arrangement. So let's read the description at the bottom. When you play session view clips, which is what we just did, this button will light up to indicate that the current status differs from the state, which is stored or recorded into the arrangement view. Clicking the button makes Live play the contents of the arrangement view. So while I was looking at this arrangement view, if I were to go back and begin jamming more, it's now listening to the session view. No matter how many times I press spacebar or play up here to start and stop, it's not going to play what I just recorded unless I click the back to arrangement button. When I click that button, you see that it unghosts the data in here, and now I'm playing what I recorded. Now that I'm timeline view, and I'm assuming a lot of you all are familiar with the timeline view if you're exploring Ableton as a digital audio workstation, I can manipulate, put these guys anywhere I want to. So that's a basic description and explanation of what makes Ableton Live different as a digital audio workstation and very unique than other digital audio workstations. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for further videos and more detailed explanations and techniques on using Ableton Live.